Go ahead and run it. It is Tuesday, May 27th in the United States and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game in Boston, Massachusetts. My name is David DJ Bean. I sit beside Pete Blackburn, and across the room is Sean DePaz. Pete, how was your Memorial Day? Was it reflective?
It was very reflective. I spent a lot of time thinking about honoring the troops, all of those who've given the ultimate sacrifice. We love you. Sean, how was your Memorial Day?
It's pretty good. I went and saw the Minecraft movie.
The troops would have wanted that for sure.
Funny you say that. I did have the distinct thought at one point during the movie where I was like, it really is a beautiful thing that people would sacrifice their whole life so I could do dumb shit like this.
That's very
I mean, that is very American.
Yeah.
It's like this beautiful day where we don't have to work. I get to go to the movies, patronize a local establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get any snacks?
I did.
What'd you get?
I broke the law a little bit. Probably not what the troops would have wanted, but I snuck in some candy from CVS.
Yep.
But then I did buy an icy at the theater.
Okay.
So
as long as
I spread the wealth.
I believe, and as we move on from supporting the troops to supporting the Minecraft movie, I believe we are out of that 2-week window where it's important that you buy concessions because the movies don't make, or the movie theater, I'm sorry, doesn't make much in the first 2 weeks of a movie, I believe.
Yep.
That's all going to the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, and I believe, yes, and I used to know this better, but Pete seems to know it.
Yeah, I think that's correct. And the 2-week window, like pretty much all of ticket sales go to the studio and to the movie, and the movie theater doesn't make much, which is why concessions are so overpriced and why they're so important.
Well, I also have A-list, so I didn't pay for this particular movie. But
that is, I wonder how that split works in terms of like the money that you pay per month, and if you use a ticket, you buy a ticket. "Quote unquote," buy a ticket within the first 2 weeks.
They're just like any subscription service like that. I think they're banking on most people not using it to its fullness. I also have to say, shout out the two-time champion Minnesota Frost.
Yes,
PWHL.
I had that in the notes.
They repeated?
Yes, they were. Yeah,
went back to
Walter
back.
Cup,
Damn.
back-to-back Walters.
Shout out to Florida Panthers.
Unbelievable. Well, why Florida Panthers?
They're about to go back to back.
Are they is a question that we will ask on today's show. I bought a mattress on Memorial Day.
Hell yeah.
This beautiful country of ours put a lot of things on sale.
I bought pants.
Literally sleeping on the troops.
What's that?
I said I bought pants.
You bought pants?
Yes, I bought pants.
I no free ads, but I bought the mattress at a place where Sean has not been, in Reading, Massachusetts. That we drove past once, and Sean was like, "What's that amusement park place?"
No, I said, why is that furniture store so big?
Oh, yes. It was unbelievable. Walked right in. Easy mark. They did the measure machine thing. They have like a Bauer thing
for the
sleep.
mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big fucking contraption that like you lean up against and it finds your pressure points and things like that.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Okay, so we can tell that you are a little overweight." They didn't say that, but got a nice mattress, and now we get to talk hockey. Pete, why don't you tell the folks what's on the show today?
Today on the show, we are going to discuss the Carolina Hurricanes winning an Eastern Conference final game, finally. And our guy, Logan Stankoven, was at the center of it. He has been the Hurricanes' best player. He sparked to the win yesterday. I'm very excited. Stank spanks the Cats. Not bad. I thought that was, I read it quickly. I thought it said Stank sparks the Cats. And I was like, I don't think that's true.
He's the type to go up to the Panthers lighter. He's young,
It's
immature.
I feel like he's pretty mature. Stankoven?
Yeah.
Locked in.
He's a rookie. I don't know if you knew that.
What's that?
He's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Been in both conference finals, but he's a rookie. Pink Pony Origins. The Edmonton Oilers were asked about the origins of the Pink Pony Club anthem, and the answer may surprise you. John Buccigross is going to join the show later on. Very, very excited to talk to him about all things Eastern and Western Conference Finals and maybe a little VR talk. And then finally, Marner Dominoes. We're going to discuss Mitch Marner's free agency, impending free agency, and perhaps its implications, how it could affect a number of different teams, not just the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, there could be league-wide impact. Thank you to John Evans for sending a super chat that says, thank you for honoring the troops by having something for us to listen to yesterday/Sunday. William Nylander could never. Thank you very much, John. We love the troops and we love everybody, and we love when fun things happen in hockey. So before we get to the Carolina Hurricanes, let's watch the Abbotsford Canucks play-by-play announcer get attacked with a chair. Sean?
Got some Yahoo your chap chirping at me from behind. Get out of here. What was he doing? Security. Try that again. I'm fired up. He threw my chair at me. Hit me right in the back of the leg. Like, what was he doing here? Unreal. Have another beer.
That's a playoff game.
Have another beer.
That's a playoff game.
Rumpus time not over.
Yeah, rumpus time not over for that fan. And, I mean, the play-by-play guy. If someone threw a chair at me, though, I'm talking about that for the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah. That would be tough.
I'm going to be like, so-and-so throws a check the way a guy threw a fucking chair at me 5 minutes ago.
I don't know what that guy's name is, but shout out to him. He did a pretty good job enduring whatever was going on over there and handling it pretty well. He also did have the energy of Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers when he's talking about his mom.
Oh, the meatloaf.
Yeah, like what's he doing over there? Never know what he's doing.
That guy just wants the meatloaf. He says they'll take it now.
That's right.
Can't be getting that worked up over an AHL hockey game.
What do you mean?
I don't think he was getting. Oh, you're the fan.
The fan. Oh yeah, no.
I was going to say, his response did not seem upset about the game.
His response was perfect. I'm saying, you can't. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that under any circumstances. But this isn't even the show yet.
Yeah,
like if you're gonna get worked up.
I don't know though, but like you always see those minor league promotions or AHL promotions.
It's like dollar beers.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I'm not sure if they're doing that shit during the playoffs, but shit gets weird at minor league sporting events.
Yeah, fair enough.
This fan, who we'll assume is a male, is probably,
I think they said as much,
getting promoted to the show in that they're probably no longer allowed to attend that minor league team's games. So you can only go to NHL games.
Have we considered that guy maybe being the solution to the New York Rangers issues?
Oh, Sarah Palin would be very against this full of angst play-by-play young man, but into the fan.
Yes.
Okay, Carolina Hurricanes still alive. Shout out Rod Brindamore. They did not lose 4 games. Logan Stankoven with a big goal. A couple of empty netters added later in the game by... Who tossed him in? Stahl get one?
Aho got one because Svechnikov gave up the goal.
It was a little too much passing.
I mean,
I was a little worried.
For that being a major story for the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. Overpassing, getting too cute to do it on an empty net was
against
a wild
team that famously, when blowing a series lead, is great at stopping empty netters from entering the goal. Matthew Tkachuk, remember racing down and stopping that McDavid empty netter that, I mean, the puck went in like 2 seconds.
Stalled,
and we've already been asking some tough questions about Sebastian Aho. Does this beg more questions? Is he down so bad that his teammates need to simply go so far out of their way to give him a goal to get him going?
A pity freebie?
Yeah.
That's like a freebie is one thing, but a pity freebie, I don't know. You asked the question a couple days ago, like, is that really your franchise center? Is that your number one center? And I still say yes. I just think he's had an uneventful postseason, but also they're playing a tough opponent. Logan Stankoven, though, as you said, he's been the Hurricanes' best player. And we all probably think this series is going to end in a way that sees I don't know, the Florida Panthers advance. But still, in this disappointing series, whenever it may end, Carolina comes out of it saying, we shuffled a lot of guys. At the end of it, we got a player who entered the season as a Calder favorite, did not have that sort of season, but big performance in the playoffs. And now we've got that building block star forward that we've been chasing for a while.
Yeah, I think that Stankoven has been like by far their best player. The stats also back that up. Like he's generated more chances than any player on the roster. He fits the system really well. He passes the eye test. I think you're very happy with the Stankoven return, what you've seen from him and what he can be for you in the future. Doesn't obviously answer the rest of the questions, but like Mikko didn't work for you, and you ended up getting a player that seems like he is going to be a building block for that team for a long time to come. So like that return, you're very, very happy with.
Carolina Hurricanes did a job, dragged him back to Raleigh. And I know that it's not perfect because do a job, drag him back to Alberta was for game 5, right? Yeah. Last year, Oilers won right? game 4 at home, and then said, we just have to do a job, drag him back to Alberta. So I was talking about winning game 5 and then coming back for game 6. But baby steps for this baby team that is the baby Carolina Hurricanes. Bunch of babies. I'm just kidding. They're not babies. Baby steps, though. 1 win is more than we have seen in years and years and years.
19
in this
to be
series.
specific.
What's that?
I said 19 to be specific.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, does this change anything, though? Like, are you happy? Like, say they lose in 5 games. You're like, wow, progress. We won an Eastern Conference final game.
Say you lose in 6 games.
Depends on what game 5 and 6 look like, I guess. I was having this distinct thought. Like, I would have so much respect for Brind'Amour if they lose in 5 and he was like, that was a sweep. that was way more of a sweep than
that
than
look
last
like
year.
A sweep.
I would respect that.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm kind of in the space where I feel like Carolina is just wasting my time, maybe your time, maybe everybody's time by winning a game. But you win 1 game, you roll your eyes. You win 2 games, you say, maybe. You win 3 games, you go, oh, damn. So, like, you got to win the first one. Credit to the Carolina Hurricanes. They looked very good and showed a lot of desperation. I don't know if I see it happening for another 3 consecutive games, especially when Florida looked pretty bad yesterday.
Sean?
No, I was going to say, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but like if the Hurricanes win another game, at what point do we start having a conversation about the Florida Panthers being a team that plays with their food a little bit
I
too
was
much?
looking at it, and here's the thing. Against Tampa in the first round, they won the first closeout game. So there is a lot of evidence of the Panthers the last 2 years winning the first closeout game. I believe they did it against... Oh, no, they didn't. They didn't do it against Boston in the second round. They obviously didn't do it at all against the Oilers. They didn't win a closeout game until they were facing elimination. They didn't win a closeout game against the Leafs until they were facing elimination. So it's something that they do, and I think that the way that you phrased it initially, Sean, is actually probably astute in that they play with their food a little bit. I think, though, as this happens, like I got the sirens were blaring too. They just don't do it all the time.
I don't want to necessarily frame it as like a derogatory thing towards the Florida Panthers, because I think even within games, you see, like you saw, what was it, game 3, I guess, where like they got a huge lead and then they started fucking around with the Canes, where it's like they are a team that knows exactly what they need to do to get the job done, and they'll fuck around until they can't fuck around anymore. Which, like, maybe not the best behavior, but they clearly keep getting the job done, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, and say they win in Raleigh tomorrow. Are we mad at the Florida Panthers for winning a 5-game series in a win 3, lose 1, win 1 kind of fashion? That is picking nits to a massive degree.
Definitely.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's a necessarily derogatory, but there is a little bit of a track record of them not getting the job done as soon as they can get it done, I guess.
That's a topic that I think for now we ignore until there's mounting evidence, and we'll ignore it, but we won't
monitor it.
We'll lightly monitor it. We'll keep it in the very, very, very back of our minds. more in the forefront of our mind. And I brought this up before the show as a topic I wanted to do later, like maybe a week from now, maybe before the Stanley Cup final begins. And the more we talked about it, Pete, you were like, no, maybe we do talk about it now. And that is, when do we start asking Florida Panthers injury questions? And that is, are they the team? And this is inspired by a point that Frank Saravalli made. So I'm taking inspiration and or stealing. But do they have signs of the team, and it happens all the time, that by the time the Stanley Cup final rolls around, they're either out of gas or they're beat up? It sounds crazy to say when they're about to win a series in possibly 5 games, but Reinhart injured day-to-day, Mikkola injured day-to-day, AJ Greer out, but respectfully, AJ Greer doesn't make a big impact on my life.
Replacement level.
Matthew Tkachuk, though, is playing and is not totally 100% Matthew Tkachuk. And Matthew Tkachuk wasn't amazing in the final last year, but when Matthew Tkachuk was like really injured and ineffective a couple of years ago, we saw what happened to the Panthers, which was they went absolutely poof.
Mm-hmm.
So this has not mattered largely because players like Brad Marchand have been amazing and the Panthers are so deep. But is there at some point a conversation coming about the Panthers being too hurt, too out of gas, etc.?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we saw it, like you said, a couple of years ago against Vegas, and it made a big difference. And obviously, when you got some big names there, like Reinhart and Tkachuk are the obvious ones, but like Nico Mikkola has been awesome for Florida in this series. And so, like, that's a big loss as well. And you're talking about perhaps like whoever they go up against is probably in a better position, whether it's Edmonton or Dallas. Like, Edmonton is going to get Ekholm back at some point, might be on the fresher side, even if he's not 100%. They might have a fresh goalie, depending on whoever it is, because they played less games than Bob. Like, I think it's a fair question to ask. I thought the more intriguing part of it was your like discussion about how you want the series to go, because you were saying it's potentially a good thing for Florida that their series could go longer in the Eastern Conference Final because it gives more time until the start of the Cup Final, and then you have a better chance of getting some of those guys back.
Yeah, it's a common. It's tough without knowing people's status, but they've got a combo going where they've got some guys who are playing and could use the rest.
Did I say Mikko Nikola? My bad.
And then
Mikko Mikkola. My bad.
Real quick.
Yes.
Mattias Ekholm is confirmed out, and Calvin Pickard is back.
Okay.
Just
back.
Calvin Pickard is back.
Back on the ice.
On the ice, not in that.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, he's been
backing
he was
up.
practicing yesterday, and he was questionable for Game 4. So good for Edmonton.
And Arvidsson is in for Brown.
So there you go.
So yeah, no Ekholm for Arvidsson.
Free Jeff.
No, yeah, free Jeff. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Although I did tweet a couple days ago, getting ahead of myself. I was like, if there's a Florida Edmonton matchup and you want some shit stirry type guys, the average person wouldn't know it, but Jeff Skinner is that. Anyway, the Panthers are in a situation where they've got some guys like Tkachuk who could probably use days off and rest. So great. As far back as you can push the start of the Cup Final, amazing. But also, you've got guys who, in Reinhart, if they're really day-to-day or it's more than that, like, do you need things to go a little longer? Whether it is you wrap it up, Western Conference takes forever, or just your series is extended where there's more time for, even while your kind of banged up guys are playing, there's more time for the Mikkolas or the Reinharts of the world to get healthy. It's a tough little line there straddling.
Definitely, especially when you consider like the longer your series goes, you could have more guys added to that list over time as well. So like obviously the most ideal scenario is Florida wraps this up and Dallas, Edmonton goes longer to not only extend the window in which you are recuperating and maybe the Stanley Cup is starting a little bit later, but like those guys are getting perhaps more banged up to even the playing field. So I don't know, like it's I was of the thought that like, hey, the sooner they wrap this up, the better, because you get rest and you get guys, healthy. But like, if both series wrap up and you have to start the Cup final earlier, not necessarily the best possible outcome.
Yeah, if you are waiting for some of those guys to come back, and there's speculation that the Cup final would start, let's say mid to late first week of June, so like the 4th or the 7th, somewhere in that range, depending on when the conference finals are done. So I don't know. I'm at least, and it all goes to part of like, we've had there's been some black and white thinking in this postseason where, okay, clearly, like, Dallas is dead now. I don't think Dallas is dead. No. Or clearly the Panthers are going to win the Cup. I don't think the Panthers are clearly going to win the Cup. I think that there's some things like the Panthers injury conversation, like the guys who aren't going for Dallas right now, that allow for more conversation.
With the injury conversation, are you willing to say or guarantee that the Panthers are going to win this series still?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Will guarantee it.
And if any Carolina Hurricanes fans are feeling disrespected after you won one game in this conference final, I would like to point out you've still scored 2 5-on-5 goals in this series through 4 games. Well, you're being outscored 12-2 at 5-on-5.
And I think the confidence that Florida is going to win the series is part of it too, because like you heard from Ekholm this morning being like, if the series, if like the playoffs look different, it probably looks different for me. Like if they needed me, it's a different conversation. How day to day are these guys, considering the fact that Florida's pretty obviously going to win this series?
Right.
Like, would they be back right now if it was 2-2? Or would they be back in game 5 if it were 2-2 type of thing?
And if they need to, like, if Florida felt they had to rush, say, Reinhart back into the lineup, and you see what happened to Ekholm in the regular season, which was like, let's get him back quick, let's get him ready for the playoffs, and plays for like 2 seconds and then is out for a month. There's not a month left in the playoffs. So exactly. Panthers got to be careful.
While we're doing injury talk stuff, one thing that we like haven't mentioned in terms of Carolina is kind of how quickly they fell apart when Jalen Chatfield got hurt.
I know.
It's like a guy that is, I don't want to say bottom of the roster, but he is sort of like bottom of the depth kind of pool. And that team kind of just fell apart when Jalen Chatfield exited the lineup. And Sean Walker's have been a big loss too. But those two things, that team has looked very different when those guys have been out of the lineup.
No disrespect to those guys, but how much of that do you think is the fact that they're being replaced by guys that have
like Scott Morrow has looked completely out of his depth for sure.
Especially on a team where it's so like system dependent.
But even like Dmitry Orlov, who is like an established defenseman, has looked shit.
Dmitry Orlov has had, he is the Wyatt Johnson of the Eastern Conference Final.
I mean, that game, what was it? Friday, Saturday? Would have been Friday, right? It just, it was like a -5, -4.
I think it was Saturday.
He did not even look like an NHL player in that game. It was crazy. It was
quite bad.
Got to say, like, they should have been playing Nikishin this whole time.
Yes.
He looked good yesterday and has looked good for basically all the games that he's played.
Yes. We've got a big one tonight. Must win-ish for Dallas, we would say. Yeah? Go down 3-1?
Yes. I would say this is definitely a must-win, and I would say win in a way that is convincing. Game 1, they won. Not convincing.
I think ideal situation for the Stars is you force them to play Calvin Pickard tonight. Like you rock Stuart Skinner so bad. You put up 5 in the first 2 type of thing.
In game 4. Cute.
What's that?
In a game 4. Cute.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, right. But like,
unlikely as it may
sound.
But
like, I think the only way that you, to me, obviously the series is not over, blah, blah, blah. Like the way that you really kind of fuck up the Oilers is you force them to answer the question, who is starting in game 5. I don't think it is a question, but
I think that it's so much more simple than that. If the Dallas Stars win this game at all, you have planted a major question in Edmonton's head, which is, how the fuck is this series tied?
And in Stuart
bigger
Skinner's
question
head.
then: must win for Dallas or can't lose for Edmonton?
I think that it is kind of not must win, but like would really like to, like, you've already squandered your one in game 1, and I know that they say like You could piss away one game in a series, but you can't piss away two. We can all agree. If there is a team that can afford to piss away multiple games and somehow win the series, as we saw in the first round, it is Edmonton. However, not all opponents are equal. Stars a lot better than the Kings. I think that if Edmonton wins tonight, they then can make it hard on the conversation we were just having about the Panthers, which is if the Panthers wrap up their series quickly and Edmonton wraps up their series quickly, then Cup final starts June 4th? And the Panthers, who kind of waltzed past their Eastern Conference final opponent, are still panting a bit. They're tired, nice. They're banged up, and they have to get on the road, take that long-ass flight. Famously, it's a long distance between Florida and Alberta.
Wow, this is the first I'm hearing of that.
And you get them on their heels a little bit. So if this Oilers team does have designs on, say, winning the Stanley Cup, which we've been told that they'd like to do that.
I think so, yeah.
We've not going to name names.
Is that a scoop?
We've been told that the Oilers' goal this postseason is to win the Stanley Cup. Then win this game 4. Connor Brown out. Rope Hintz could be back. Game time decision.
I don't know. People are calling him a bitch.
Either way, he's getting called a bitch. So might as well play. I don't know. Or actually, no. Might as well not play.
Rupe Hintz did not skate.
What's that?
He did not skate today. Game time decision per Pete DeBoer.
I feel so bad for him. People pushed back on my anti-calling Rope Hintz a bitch statement, saying if he took warm-ups, it means that he was medically cleared to play. So it means the doctors said he can play. And Rope said, no. It's not that simple. A guy's not a, and I don't like that term anyway, but like a guy isn't soft or a guy isn't whatever, like just based on the team saying maybe he could play and then he doesn't play. We don't know.
At some point, maybe in the break between the conference finals and the cup finals, we should rank like the individual losses of the playoffs. Like which players have taken individual hits during these playoffs.
I think you should throw
Rope Hintz would have to be up there, which is so unfair because he's had a great playoff in terms like statistically. But now everybody thinks you're a bitch.
Knock on wood.
And it's not even his fault.
If
probably.
the series ended today, you know who I'd have high on that list?
Who?
Jake Ottinger. Because in the postseason in which everyone decided Connor Hellebuck cannot be the starting goaltender for US, Connor Hellebuck is clearly the starting goaltender for the U.S.
Quite incredible how the Dallas Stars are in the Western Conference Final, and I would say that no team has the highest number of individual players who have like decreased their like reputation between like
Dallas. You said?
Yeah, Dallas.
Like Wyatt Johnston,
Wyatt Johnson, Otter to a certain extent.
I wouldn't say Otter's stock has decreased.
Yeah,
I think
Otter's
that it
a little
inflated
weird
and then deflated, and it's probably just a
kind of where it was going into the season, which is like
he's the second best,
really
American
good goalie. I mean, I think it was Jay Fresh who ranked like the top 3 goalies of all time, and I so agreed with this. And it was number 1 Hasek, number 2 Wah, number 3 is a goalie, and it's similar to like RL's thing about like. There's usually 1 or 2 amazing goalies, and then there's a bunch of guys who can be really good and can be whatever, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. We'll hit more on this game in a little, but first I got to tell you about Vivid Seats. It's how we get to games. It's how, if certain teams are in the Cup final and we decide to go, we will be entering. Maybe. We'll see. No better time to be in the arena. No better place to get your tickets for any live event than Vivid Seats. They have the best selection of games and seats, and every purchase is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee. Plus, Vivid Seats is the only ticket marketplace that rewards you for every purchase. So download the Vivid Seats app and start earning rewards towards free tickets. New Vivid Seats users who use promo code CHAOS30 and will receive $30 off their first purchase of $300 or more. Once again, click the link in the show notes. Go to vividseats.com or download the Vivid Seats app and use promo code CHAOS30 for $30 off your first purchase of $300 or more. When it comes to playoff hockey, being there is all that matters, so experience it live with Vivid Seats. Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Blackburn.
Hello. If you are tired of losing your parlays, boy, do I have a betting app for you. The HOF Bets app. Oh, my goodness. We love them. I'm actually like kind of on a heater right now.
Are you?
I will not lie. Been doing pretty well.
I mentioned off air. Huge night for me last night because I had far too much faith in the Carolina Hurricanes before this series started. Bet on the Florida Panthers to finish the series in 5. And it looked real bad after the first 3. But we're back thanks to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Huge night for me. Went on that alt puck line. Is that what it be?
Yeah.
Minus 1.5 goals for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Psychotic
Easy.
behavior.
Nothing like betting minus 1.5, minus whatever on hockey is my favorite thing in the world because all you need is a late lead. A late lead that's not too big.
Yeah.
And you're getting a chance at an empty net.
Do you remember during the bubble, we were big on I was cleaning up. I would just bet whoever the underdog in the game was minus 1.5. So like I would take. It's just such a big swing.
I will say it is awesome that we are in the middle of a read that Pete has notoriously struggled with, and he was absolute banger start,
Yep.
and then we were like,
it.
let's spend a minute and a half talking.
Absolute wrench in my read. I hate to see it. Somebody in the chat, I think, pointed out that every conference final game has been decided by at least 3 goals to this point.
Wow.
Which is bananas. So you could be cleaning up with that minus 1.5.
Bet you that's information the HOF app would have.
HOF app has all the information that you need to be a smarter better, because if you're an emotional guy, if you're just kind of a vibes better, you're probably going to lose a lot. So you may as well have some information at your fingertips, and boy, oh boy, will HOF give it to you, because they will give you historical data, matchup grades, leg correlation tools, and player performance insights that help you become a much smarter gambler. I use them. It's super easy to use. They also, they're very, very convenient in that they allow you to link to your favorite sports betting app outside of whatever sports book you use, whether it's FanDuel, whether it's DraftKings. You can link it straight to your HOF Bets account, and it's super, super easy to get the insights that you want on the HOF app and then just automatically transfer it to the Sportsbook app. So it's easy, it's smart, it's convenient. And for a limited time, our listeners are not only going to get a 7-day free trial, but they're going to get a 50% off discount from their first month when they use the code CHAOS at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS and Android, or visit hofbets.com and enter code CHAOS, and you're all set. You're going to get 50% off your first month with the code CHAOS.
Let's talk to our dear friend from ESPN, the great John Buccigross. Bucci, why aren't you wearing a VR headset?
They don't let anchors wear VR headsets. It's in their contracts. Has to be an analyst.
Are you jealous that PK gets to enter the PK verse?
I am. I want to have hot dog fingers, and I want to say stop when we could just roll the actual video from the game. And just have these different cartoons. See what I look like as a cartoon. That's always fun too.
Here's a question. Which jersey would you be wearing? Because famously, PK wears a Habs jersey when he does his.
Yeah. Not sure. I'll go the Blue Jackets, high school and college in Ohio.
Love
That's right.
that.
I always forget you were an Ohio guy. That's like
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived
you have
there
like a lot of New England energy. And I think you're like, you consider yourself a New Englander, right?
Well, mom and dad grew up in South Boston, and all my relatives, cousins, grandparents, aunts, and uncles all lived within 40 minutes of Boston. We were the only ones. So, yeah, we were out there in 11 years, Pennsylvania, 11 years in Ohio, and then I moved to New England at 22. So I've been here for 38 years.
We gotta get PK on, just because I love my favorite thing about the whole thing is the go ahead and run it. That's like that's the catchphrase that is sweeping North America. Go ahead and run it. Man got a huge ass thing on his fucking face, and he's going like this. Go ahead and run it. I honestly, like, when I first saw it, I was like, this is going to be a little ridiculous, but it is growing on me, and I'm not saying that as a joke.
Okay.
Is it not growing on you?
No.
Sean, is it growing on you?
Sure. Yeah, I'll say yes.
I am the lone supporter of it. They got to get some like image stabilization though, because when they cut to his view, it's like, all right, now look what I'm seeing, and it's fucking shaking all over the place. So that they need to work on. Bucci, we were talking before about the Panthers and how while they are clearly having an easy time getting through the Eastern Conference Final, they are kind of starting to get on that injury watch, on that maybe could run out of gas watch. Are we being dramatic? Are we just being an Oilers podcast? Or is that something that maybe should be monitored more than it's been?
Yeah, no, for sure. If you're looking ahead, if you think it's going to be Oilers and Panthers, which it probably will be, then I think if you're an Oiler person, you can say, okay, we're getting Ekholm back. Frederick and Kane give us a lot. Pud Colton is playing like he never played all year long in terms of hitting people. Zach Hyman's taken on that role, so they're going to be a physical team that probably just about the most physical team that the Panthers have seen. And if Reinhart does have a bit of an MCL sprain there, and he's not 100%, and Mikola's shoulder the labrum's ripped off, and he's going to have surgery this summer at some point, I do think those guys will eventually play. But I think it's a reasonable thing. Although last night I think it was a day off. They were playing too cute, and they were trying to get it without working that hard. It's a natural human reaction. It's just Carolina just had way more desperation. The Panthers, I don't want to say didn't feel like matching, but it takes a lot of energy to match. And so let's try to go 90%. And so now we got a fun game 5.
With the conference finals going the way that they are right now, which has been a little disappointing. I think we can say we just recited the stat that every game has been decided by 3 or more goals. Like, what's been the biggest stories for you from both sides?
Well, certainly it was Carolina's losing streak in the Eastern Conference Finals before they won last night. That was a big one. Sam Bennett being tied for goals in the playoffs is a big one at the perfect time in his career. Connor McDavid, again, until recently, not scoring goals in the playoffs, which I really believed he needs to do for them to win. And now the last 2 games, it's a big difference when I think you're seeing him thinking about scoring more. That 2-on-1 the other night, who was that? Was that with Hyman that he shot the 2-on-1 shot?
Mm-hmm.
He very rarely does that, right? And so I think he realizes I got to start thinking goals, and especially in the playoffs. I have a great shot. I have the most determination on the team. I have the most to lose, the most to win in all of this. So everything's really riding on him. Nobody feels what he feels. So I think he needs to shoot more and try to score goals. And he hadn't. He didn't last year. And he said, I got off to a slow start this year. It was like a 25 goal pace before these last. That's fine. But, he needs to score a little bit more than that. And so if he starts thinking that, then I think the Oilers, with, like you said, the Panthers getting worn down, is a bit of a story. And we'll see you at Dallas. Tonight's a big one. Tonight will probably reinforce the storyline, another storyline, whatever that is. Oilers go up 3-1. Skinner has another amazing game. He's coming on strong. Will Rantanen score tonight? Is he going to get outscored by Logan Stankoven in the conference finals? So it's going to be fun. That's why every game is so much fun. So yeah, there has been final score disparities, but I think a lot of these games have been somewhat close. Obviously how Dallas came back, and they're always right there before someone pops late. And that's going to happen this time of year. Guys are tired, guys are worn down, guys are injured, so you might get that. But overall, I still wake up. I can't wait for the game every night. Can't wait for tonight's game.
We haven't spoken since the Panthers beat the Maple Leafs in 7 games, and you and I were both like big on the Maple Leafs this postseason. You had them winning the cup, which made me want to die. But I had them certainly making a deep run. Maybe you just said it on our show to fuck with me.
I said, what was the craziest outcome of the playoffs? The craziest outcome of the playoffs was Austin Matthews lifting the cup in Edmonton.
Yeah, you gave me a scenario. I wasn't predicting that.
Oh, okay,
you asked me for a scenario.
Okay. I apologize for misremembering, but
that's okay. My preseason pick was the Oilers winning the cup. That was my preseason pick. So if it is Oilers-Panthers for the cup final, I'm taking the Oilers just to ride the preseason pick.
Okay, well, fuck the Leafs question I had then, because that's very good. Why do you have the Oilers as being better than the Panthers right now?
Well, they amazingly, despite their huge Summer mess up with Holloway and Broberg, they were able to kind of figure it out. You know, they got a lot of help from Kane being out and getting his slot money wise. Wallman and Klingberg they've changed their defense. They can make stretch passes. They can have a one man breakout. They give them actually more offense than they had last year. Kane and Frederick, and like I said, I don't know what Podkolzin's doing. I don't know if he's taking Adderall or something before the game, but he didn't play like that all year long. I mean, he is destroying people, which is how he's built. That's why he should play. And then Hyman's taken on that role. So suddenly they're a physical team with obviously the two great players and those two defensemen who really kind of change things back there. And so suddenly they got, they have, I think, a Panther type team. And it's just a matter if the goal scoring or if the goaltending for them remains like it's going. They can have a thing. But so far, I think it's trending well for the Oilers.
Okay, what I do know is that the three of us are there's a 3-man Mount Rushmore of people who have said, what the fuck is Evan Bouchard doing over and over and over again. All three of us are, I don't want to say Bouchard haters, definitely not.
Definitely
but
not.
Bouchard, we've been exasperated by Bouchard a lot, and I've heard you call games where I can hear in your voice the like, Oilers could have used a better play there from Evan Bouchard. Are you shocked that he is playing like an actual number one defenseman plus the Bobby Orr thing that he already has going on?
No, I mean, obviously, this guy is a huge talent. He's obviously always performed in the postseason, so you can't question that. It's just, during the regular season, sometimes he just doesn't want to go in the corner. He just doesn't want to make that play. It's just not in him, and that's fine. There's all kinds of players in all kinds of sports who used to be that way. The Celtics had a guy, Dennis Johnson, way back in the day when I was a kid, who kind of played that way. Always showed up in the big game. Game 42, in Cleveland against the Cavaliers, I might not be here. Again, I want to be here 70 to 80%. It's a long year. And
Load
that's just, I
management.
think, how Bouchard is built. I'm not sure. Sometimes he knows what city he's in playing. I don't think that's always the case. I think you could quiz him on the bench. You're not sure, exactly where he is and what day of the week it is and when do we play, who do we play next. But again, that's just how he is. And that's why he's free in the playoffs, I think, just to be free, doesn't get in the way, uncomplicated. A Fred Couples type of mindset that they used to have in golf. And it's like, Freddie doesn't overcomplicate things. He just goes out and plays. And that's what Evan Bouchard does. He's Freddie Couples with ice skates.
That's awesome. Just load management Bouchard. Big fan.
That the team doesn't
Big
know
fan.
what he's doing.
Self-load manager.
Yeah, right. Self-load manager.
Yeah, load management with 82 games played. I love it.
And make you a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, we've said a couple of times, Oilers better sign that contract within the first few days of free agency, because if he takes them to arbitration, oh boy.
The numbers are going to give him a fat check. That's
it will
for
be
sure.
very, very ugly. Do you have any more on the postseason? Because I've got some Bruins questions.
Well, I wanted to ask about Carolina because we did a show yesterday or Sunday for yesterday, and we talked about the discourse around the Carolina Hurricanes and if they need an identity shift and like if there's something in the water there that just really isn't working. And of course, they win a game last night. They extend the series. Number one, do you think that there is an identity crisis with the Carolina Hurricanes that needs to be fixed in terms of playoff hockey? And if so, is there anything that you could see in the rest of this series that might pull you off of that narrative?
I just think they need better players. I just don't think they have high-end complete players. I think, Aho and Svechnikov are probably second liners. They're kind of first liners. Brent Burns is 40. Slavin doesn't give you offense. He's the best defensive defenseman. After that, I just don't think Carrier has been invisible in this series. Why does he play like Kachuk and Bennett? Why isn't he He's just a big asshole out there. They need more assholes on that team, first of all. And so, I just don't think overall you look at their roster, they have enough good players and really high end players. I think the fact they get here is a testament to what they have and to the culture and to Rod Brindamore and how they play. They've never really had reliable goaltending that's healthy, and I think, like I said, I think he's gotten way more out of that than anybody. He is squeezing that ketchup, and there's still ketchup coming out of it, and you keep shaking it. You don't want to open up a new one, because I don't know, there could be 14 cents worth more of ketchup in this thing, and I'm going to get it for the next hot dog. I just think he just keeps squeezing and squeezing, and I think it's a lot. And that's why they go Gensel. That's why they go get Rancid and hope to keep them, because they know they need more of those players. They don't have those kinds of players.
Connor McDavid in shambles hearing that.
Ketchup?
A lot of ketchup talk, too much for him. And I wonder, I've been thinking about this a little bit. Like you said, they need more assholes. Can you moneyball an asshole? Can you do the, like, Scott Hatteberg is our ideal first baseman, it's just that he's not a first baseman? We'll teach him how to play first base. Like, is there a guy that they're like, we can get him to, I mean, you mentioned Podkolzin earlier, where Vasily Podkolzin has gone from, respectfully, a bust of a top 10 pick to a real kind of like sandpapery type of player. Is there some sort of way they can maybe fashion a couple of assholes?
Like send them to boot
I think
camp?
so. I have a boot camp. You can teach these people. You can get in there. You don't have to fight. You might have to fight once in a while, but that's not hard. You're just grabbing jerseys, and you might take one, but you're not going to get hurt. Like, just get in there. Like Matthew Tkachuk, just basically, and Brady Tkachuk, they were taught at an early age how to establish themselves in this league, and they're both rich at a young age as a result. Like, you can get very, very rich playing that way. And Brad Marchand did it, and Sam Bennett is going to make a boatload. Like, why wouldn't? Statistically, Sam Bennett isn't Matthew Barzal or maybe Elias Lindholm a couple years ago. But if you're Sam Bennett, you look in the mirror, you said, I'm going to take less than Elias Lindholm. Are you kidding me? At 7.75? No, I'm making more than him. Who would you rather have in a 7-game series than some of these guys out here making 9? I know people don't want to pay Sam Bennett that much. And maybe it's Bobby Holik, the sequel, what the Rangers did. And ideally, he should stay in Florida and take 8 times 8. That's what my theory is. Take 8 times 8. Don't go somewhere else and put more pressure on yourself and play for 10. And then you have all this pressure. You have a team that's going to be good for 5 more years because none of them are 30 yet. So you're going to continue to play playoff games. You're in a great part of the world there. You've been for a while. It seems like you and your wife like it. Stay there. And now you're established there. So those are the kind of players. And I'm surprised they're not more young college. And you mentioned you mentioned the camp, but I really would be more aggressive coaching these guys and drafting them and try to develop them that way. And look at game tape of Tkachuk and Marchand on how they shit disturb. Like, you can do that. You can learn how to do that, and you'll get paid for it.
Remember, like, the Jerry Springer, when they would have, like, those kids in juvie?
Oh, yeah.
And they'd send them, or was it juvie or something? They would send them to do, like, a week at this detention facility. And they would
scared straight.
Scared straight. That's what it was. They should do that with Carolina Hurricanes players over the offseason and turn them into assholes.
So, like, a reverse scared straight.
Yep.
Right. Like, they're scared into being criminals.
So I don't know if you need to scare them or what you need to do, but have them go in because they're reformed right now.
Right.
You want them to be unreformed.
They're currently law-abiding citizens. They go in law-abiding citizens. They come out hardened criminals. That's what needs to happen with the
I think what you're
Hurricanes.
just describing is like prison. Like when you put like innocent people in prison, a lot of times it can.
I was going to say, you got to figure out a scenario where you show them what can go wrong if they're too nice. I don't know what that is. But
I think they're seeing it. I think they're living it for the past like 20 years.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. How do you reprogram them the other way?
I think that you could maybe take lessons from the film Armageddon, because they took drillers and taught them how to be astronauts. If you can do that, you can like teach a 24-year-old nice young Canadian guy how to be a 24-year-old slightly mean Canadian guy. Anyway,
you know what I'm doing?
What?
I'm hiring a tattoo artist before the next game, and Sebastian Aho is getting a face tattoo.
That would help.
Yeah,
he's getting the Askarov thing on his neck. Who's the next head coach of the Boston Bruins?
I'm I'm trying to figure that one out. I want to send another cryptic tweet. I enjoy doing that once I find out who these coaches are. It's fun. So I'm playing golf tomorrow with a college hockey coach. So I'm gonna try to get some information off of him.
Okay,
It's a good
can
way
I?
to it's a good way to create relationships, get some sources, and it's fun. So I want this one. I want a cryptic tweet of the Bruins.
All right, I mean, this is a horrible tweet that we got. And of course, I can't find it because Twitter is so fucking bad now that when you go to somebody's Twitter page, it just doesn't have their recent tweets anymore.
Go to the replies.
I don't know.
You can click the replies tag.
I texted you a more recent update about the Bruins.
Okay, a recent update from Sean DePaz from David Pagnotta. Sounds like the Bruins are in the final stage of their head coach search this week. Both Marco Sturm and Jay Woodcroft are among the remaining candidates for the job. Woodcroft had his latest follow-up interview the other day. Would it be, do you think? I mean, we keep hearing Woodcroft's name. Obviously, Sturm comes up a bunch. People had speculated Mark Savard, and Butch, you probably agree with this. It's a tough, difficult thing to dance around. Mark Savard was no favorite in the Boston Bruins or in the Boston Bruins organization. There is no way he's being hired as the head coach. Respectfully, nice
No
guy,
chance.
but no chance that Cam Neely or whomever or the Jacobs want to hire that guy. Woodcroft and Marco Sturm, either one make sense for you?
Woodcroft doesn't seem like a Bruins coach to me.
Does not.
Does not seem like a fit. Sturm does. He played, so certainly that gives you a shot. I know nothing about his coaching. He's he's pretty stealth when it comes to what kind of coach would he actually be. What's he look like behind the bench? What's his demeanor? I don't know what he looks like today. I got his hockey cards in the basement when he played, but I don't know what he looks like today.
You
guys got
in
a
the
picture?
exact same boat. I love Marco Sturm as a player.
Is he aging well? Is he still? He's always very he was always very energetic and happy. It seemed
that is true.
Kind of like a Tomas Hertl kind of disposition when he played.
Yeah, it
Scored a
does
goal in
suck
Fenway Park, right?
Mm-mm. Our friend Mike Grinnell was trying to. Yes, he did. Of course, our friend Mike Grinnell was spending years manifesting Leon Draisaitl of the Bruins, and that bubble was unfortunately burst for him last offseason. But if Leon had not signed that extension and was going to be a free agent after this year, and the Bruins were moving to hire a German coach, could you imagine? We would not talk about a single playoff game this entire postseason. It would just be daily Draisaitl.
Right now, you'd be between Leon's former coach and a German. So either way.
Oh, right. True.
Either way, you could be talking about they're planting the seeds for the Leon.
Oh, no. What if this just tells us the Bruins are unaware that Draisaitl re-signed? they're still positioning themselves to sign
is what
Leon
their plan is
Draisaitl.
built around.
Well, you know who got put at the top of a trade target list today? That is famously
yes.
German. John
JJ
Jason
Peterka.
Wow.
But if McDavid wins the cup this year, and this is extension summer for him, and he's like, you know what? I'm getting to 30. Leon's getting to 30. We have 0 in the farm system. We're not quite the free agent destination unless Leon and Connor can be free agent attractors for the right guy at the right age. Maybe
Worked out great for Jeff Skinner.
Connor's like, you know what? Let's move on from Edmonton. I won them a cup. I won my cup. Let's go somewhere. And then Leon would be traded within a year. So if that were to happen, then Leon would be down because he'd play a year maybe without Connor. Then it's like, all right, move on from me. And then whatever they get for McDavid and Draisaitl, then they can restock back up again for the next decade. Because they're not in great position to have a run, Edmonton. You know what I mean?
I do. I mean, they are with their ages. They've got a very good window right now. The next few years, they do, and then after that, I feel like as long as you have 2 of the best players in the world, you always have something of a window, but you do need to kind of reshuffle and restock. I'm going to ignore the Matthew Savoy and what's my guy from the London Knights, Sam something, who they drafted. You can't forget Sam, guy that they drafted at the end of the first round last year. They're loaded, baby.
I just love that you're truly a chaos agent. You basically just said Bucci, that if Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup, it is going to be the downfall of their franchise within like 1 year. And that to me is just beautiful stuff.
You Florida Marlins them.
Yes.
Trade McDavid for Byfield, Clark, and Tempe, and get him to LA. And then let's get Austin to somewhere, maybe LA as well. Who knows? Maybe he wants to go to Utah. Let's get these Canadian superstars down to the States. We need to help our ratings.
Sean,
Canadian teams are not good for ratings.
Which jersey do you get first? Do you get Connor McDavid, LA Kings, or do you get Quentin Byfield, Edmonton Oilers?
Connor McDavid, LA Kings.
Obviously.
A McDavid Kings jersey.
Oilers jerseys don't even rate compared to Kings jerseys.
Oh, wow. That's a bold statement. I disagree with that.
I don't.
But
I think they're both top 5.
The purple and gold McDavid sweater would be pretty cool.
Ooh, purple and gold. Mwah. We need more purple in this league.
Gross.
That's the one you get autographed too. Be great autographs. One to have, McDavid sweater.
Bucci, thank you so much. We love talking to you. As Pete said, you are just a massive chaos agent. So thank you for all of your contributions to our.
Can you send me some chaos gear, a hoodie, and a T-shirt I can wear?
Absolutely, yes, we owe you too.
We just restocked hockey stuff. So yes, we will get you that hoodie, and it would look great on you.
Absolutely.
Large, please. And I still owe Pete around the golf. So Pete, anytime, come on down to Plymouth. We'll go to Pine Hills. Rip it up. Great day today. Beautiful, perfect, gorgeous.
Shout out my guy Morgan Geeky, hearing me in that round of golf. 30 goal
He
scorer.
can join us too. He can join us. How about Geeky and Swayman against you and me with handicaps? Let's make it happen.
Let's
I don't
do
know
it.
Geeky, but I feel like Swayman would do that.
Probably.
We can make it. He would. Yeah.
American hero, Jeremy Swayman. So congratulations to you on your buddy and our mutual friend winning.
Yes.
It's just what he does.
Thanks,
Thank you,
boys.
Bucci.
Love
you.
Thanks for remembering.
It's the great John Buccigross of ESPN. He sounded back and forth on the VR, we'll say.
Yeah, for sure. You could
Hot
say
and cold?
that. Yeah.
He's still feeling out the VR thing.
You could definitely say that he felt hot about that.
Okay, Mattias Ekholm out for Game 4. I just want to get to a continuation of the Troy Stecher rules storyline of this postseason. He said that he fucking loves Bob on the last broadcast or on the Game 2 broadcast. He said, fucking love Bob. He also said the Oilers had shit the bed in Game 1. He just don't give a hoot. That guy's going to let it rip. He was asked about Mattias Ekholm potentially coming back and replacing him in the lineup. He said, quote, I want him healthy and I want him to help us win. He's a better player than I am. That's just the reality of this world. And he didn't say that in a pouty sort of way. He said that in if there's something that you want and if you taking a back seat helps you get it, then why wouldn't you do that? If, say, we were doing something for the show, we were presenting, pitching something or whatever, and they needed something that sounded like, you know what? Sean takes the lead on this one. Pete takes the lead on this one. It gives us a better chance of getting the thing we want. We just want to win.
Yeah.
So shout out
great teammate
Troy
behavior.
Stecher.
That's like why when I'm playing Warzone and there's like 2 dead teammates and somebody's like, if I have more damage, I'm just like, buy the other guy back.
I'm a huge. I never buy me back first.
Yes,
never buy me back
I'm
first.
a great teammate, not the best player, great teammate. I'm always like, bring the other guy back.
I'm right there with you.
Why has Jeff Skinner not said this? Is it a bad reflection on Jeff Skinner that he hasn't been like, I'm okay not playing?
Maybe
is Jeff Skinner allowed to talk?
Maybe
yeah. Like, does Jeff Skinner have a gag order or something?
Maybe he's even a better teammate than Troy Stecher and has been saying it privately. He's pulled Chris Knobloch aside. It's like, I know you plan on playing me in these games, but these other guys give you a better chance.
Maybe.
Troy Stecher continued, I just want to win a Stanley Cup, man. I don't want to talk poorly of anyone, but my time in Vancouver, we weren't very good. My time in I can't make that out. We weren't very good.
Thank you.
My time in Detroit, we weren't very good. I just want an opportunity to play on a contender. Obviously, I want to be in the lineup. I'm going to do everything in my power to prove to the coaches I deserve to play. But the most important thing is just winning hockey games. I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in. Troy Stecher rocks.
Yeah.
I love that man. Huge Troy Stecher guy.
He would be a What Chaos guy.
Yes, and notice that in that quote, he didn't say anything. Clearly, he did not say anything about the Arizona Coyotes.
No,
that
is not.
If I read it correctly.
If you read it correctly, we do not need to investigate that thing that you couldn't make out.
The other story, of course, swirling around the Western Conference Finals is that Evan Bouchard and Trent Frederick were asked why the team plays Pink Pony Club, where that started, and here's how that went down.
Can either of you speak to the origin or what it means to you, how Pink Pony Club has become your victory song?
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to keep that one within the team there.
Okay, a lot of speculation came from that, but after talking to John Buccigross, I'm wondering, does Evan Bouchard just not know what Pink Pony Club is? Is that why he gave that response?
That would be awesome. That would be great. That was possibly the most nefarious answer to, not nefarious, but like it begs more questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't think of a mysterious, like a reason for that you would need to keep private.
What are they worried about?
So now like you said, there are certainly more questions. I don't know, but again, I don't know. Short of like, I literally don't know what realistically it could be that they wouldn't feel comfortable revealing.
No idea, but I love the answer. I think that the two best traditions going on in the playoffs right now, Pink Pony Club and the Florida Panthers eating blizzards.
Yes, I wondered that. When Marchand said, like, oh, yeah, I was eating a blizzard, like, was he being serious?
No.
Was he actually?
No.
He was eating in the locker room.
No, they
he was eating,
that.
but it seemed, at least my read on it was like, obviously he was joking.
No, he was eating honey. They clarified it afterwards.
Yeah,
he was joking in the thing because the team, a few guys went to get blizzards the night before because they had a Dairy Queen near their hotel, and so like they brought it up because he never said that he was eating a blizzard. Someone asked him if he was eating a blizzard. He was like, yeah, that's what I was doing.
What was that? A blizzard there?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, I got to get that cookie dough thing. And I saw a bunch of accounts, reputable ones. I'm not going to name names, being like, LOL, Marchand was eating ice cream during the game, and I was like,
no,
I must be reading this horribly wrong, or someone's dumb here.
Yeah, no, he like, in everyone's defense, he did like confirm, but he was not being serious. Yeah, they later clarified that it was honey that he was eating.
Okay.
I thought I saw like a screenshot of him in the locker room eating a blizzard. It could have been Photoshop.
He had a spoon in his mouth.
Yeah, the only thing that we saw, unless you saw something else that someone made.
So they asked, they were like, so what were you eating there? Were you eating some DQ
There was
blizzard?
videos of him like licking a spoon.
That's right. I never questioned the legitimacy of it because I just assumed, like, seeing that picture, that it was true.
Yeah.
So it leaves Pink Pony Club as the number one mystery or tradition. And what are they hiding? What are they like? Who went where? Who did none of these people know this song before?
Like,
that was my lead theory.
Ooh.
I was like, yo, just like that's some Western Canada shit. They just
go
didn't
down
get that song.
You go down 2-0 to the LA Kings, who are near West Hollywood. Maybe they galvanized the team by taking a trip to the Pink Pony Club, although they would have been in Edmonton before Game 3.
And Pink Pony Club is not a real thing.
No,
correct. It's just like a club where people shake it.
Yeah, I think she didn't want to name a specific club in West Hollywood, so she kind of came up with the Pink Pony Club.
Well, maybe they went to just a strip club.
Gay bar, maybe something like that.
No, maybe they went to the same club that inspired Pink Pony Club, and then they were told there, like, "Hey, this is the Cheers bar, as it were, of gay LA like night scene."
I hope it's not something like problematic. I don't know like what it could be, but it's like we'll get in trouble if we reveal this.
Oh,
I don't know.
This is hockey's
I
biggest
just hope
mystery.
it's something that we can get in it. Like, I hope it's like, maybe it's something that would give like the Stars bulletin board material type of thing. So that's why they're not revealing it yet. Like, I hope it's something that we can get.
I mean, get me a scenario in which Pete DeBoer, who is having a doozy of a series, is yelling and says the words Pink Pony Club in a pregame speech. It's like, you think that like we're going to sleep on that? You think that they're just going to do that Pink Pony Club shit that in some way affects us negatively and says that we're bad, and we're just gonna fucking take it? Show them what you're made of, boys. Ew.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the Stars and the Hurricanes don't really have a thing.
Famously, we asked Cody Cece, what is your Pink Pony Club? And he was like, seems like they're having a lot of fun over there.
Yeah.
He did say they play Post Malone.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
but like,
I mean, if they get in there and you got Cody Cece of Holiday Inflatables fame going in there and rapping White Iverson, that'd get me going.
Yeah, but that's like the Bruins like having Dropkick Murphys in the locker room after the game. It's just like it's so obvious that it's not even a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get that part I agree with. It depends on the song a little bit.
Last thing I want to hit on this show, and it's a bit of a doozy as well. Let's talk some Mitch Marner dominoes, because famously Mitch Marner is about to hit free agency. We all expect he will not be back with the Leafs. He will test the waters. And Pierre LeBrun on 1050 Overdrive said Anaheim, Detroit, and Chicago, quote, will want to get in on it. And then he noted that while Ken Holland did not say anything about Mitch Marner specifically, because you can't, he said that he spoke to Ken Holland for a story, and Holland had said, oh, absolutely, the Kings are going to be very aggressive in this offseason, so maybe LA could be a team. But here's the money quote from Pierre LeBrun on 1050 Overdrive. Quote, Marner himself will probably look at the usual suspects. Florida, Vegas, all the teams that we always end up keying on where players seem to love to go. I think those teams will probably be on his list as well. The ones that stand out, Florida and Vegas.
And
because,
Buffalo.
What's that?
I said and Buffalo.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
Yep. Usual suspects.
Everyone loves them.
Florida, Vegas, Buffalo. I actually heard a GM talk about Florida and Buffalo in the same sentence when talking about attracting free agents.
Similar climate.
I'm assuming he was saying that it was a similar thing.
Climate, similar tax structure. For sure.
Similar, what would you call like the similar trees? Like what would not ecology.
I know the word. Fuck. Oh, that's gonna eat me. I can't think of it.
Etymology.
No, it's like
biology.
Like
geography.
It's like planted. Like it's not plantage, but it's like the word for like foliage almost. But not exact. That's not exactly what I'm looking for.
It's saying I wrote tree ecology and it says forest ecology. That's not what I'm talking about.
Chat will probably.
Somebody in the chat's gonna get it in like 8 seconds. But anyway, yeah. The usual suspects will say, but let's even whittle that
horticulture. Yes,
horticulture, similar horticulture. Let's be adventurous though, and whittle that list down even further, and not include Buffalo for some reason. And we'll say Florida and Vegas. Florida, we had speculated, was already kind of pitching Mitch Marner by saying,
"Hey, it's easier to play here."
Tough playing in, they got some really good players there. If they were playing somewhere else, they would probably have an easier time and would not have to deal with as much. So if it's Florida, they got $19 million in cap space. And the big question I'm left with is, would you rather, if you have to give Sam Bennett, say $10 million a year, and we're in agreement with John Buccigross that 8 times 8 should be the deal for Sam Bennett, is it an overpayment? Maybe a little bit, but whatever. He means a lot to that team. I don't think you can give him the huge contract he might get somewhere else, but let's say it's $10 million a year for the Panthers to keep Sam Bennett. Would you rather give Sam Bennett $10 million a year or say Mitch Marner $12.5 million a year?
Mitch Marner, 12.5.
All day. And the loss of Sam Bennett will be felt. But Mitch Marner is an unbelievable player, and Sam Bennett is a very good player.
Unbelievable player, and he'd be going to a place that already has the edge built in Florida that would mitigate what Mitch Marner does not bring to the lineup. And that's like the big thing, is that you can have the highly skilled guys who are not as willing to get into the mud or have that edge, but you have to have it on their team. And Florida has it in spades.
Can I note that in addition to making great points, Pete has now had back-to-back shows where he has crushed a word starting with M. He said malleable on Sunday's show and not only used the word correctly, something that I don't think any of us on this show had done. It was just such a good point. He used malleable without a second thought in a great point. Mitigate now. Has Daddy cracked into the M section of the dictionary, or are you just on a different level than the rest of us?
I've got glasses now. I'm wearing glasses today. It has just elevated my IQ by at least 45 points.
Well, you're fucking crushing it.
So I'm up to like a 63.
I cannot wait for the next word. I agree with every word of that. There's not going to be a no, Mitch Marner isn't this type of player. It would just be like, so the Panthers now have Sasha Barkov and Mitch Marner. Good luck playing against that team when it's tough to score on that. And then good luck playing against everybody else where it's tough to do anything against them because they're assholes. Mitch Marner would be awesome for the Panthers.
And it's the same reason that I said yesterday or yesterday's show why I would pay Sam Bennett $10 million if I'm Carolina. Because Carolina doesn't have that shit. And that's why I don't want Carolina to pay Mitch Marner. He fits too much into the mold of what they already have. Whereas, like, you swap those guys in those locations, I think they're both, like, really, really great fits. Mitch Marner to Florida, Sam Bennett to Carolina. Both make a ton of sense for me. And I would overpay for Sam Bennett. And I think, like, $12.5 million is bargain bin stuff for Mitch Marner.
My response to all this, I guess, though, is that, like, the Florida Panthers have presumably gone to 3 straight Stanley Cups. Like, why would you fuck with that? Like, if you can choose between Sam Bennett and Mitch Marner, Sam Bennett, who continuously shows up in the biggest moments for you, and Mitch Marner, who is known for disappearing in those moments, and you have been to 3 straight times, like, why would you even consider fucking
Because you
with that?
can't rest on your laurels. You can't get too comfortable.
But I don't think it's resting on your laurels. I think it's making your team worse.
But I think it's projecting what these players will be over the course of that contract that you're giving them. It's
but I mean, if you can win 2 more Stanley Cups at the beginning of that contract with Sam Bennett, who gives a shit what it looks like at the end of it?
I just think that what Sam Bennett brings is more replaceable than what Mitch Marner would be able to bring.
I guess, yeah, but I'm just saying, why would you risk finding out?
I guess, but like you could have the same conversation as to why would you trade Jonathan Huberdeau when he was your leading scorer on your President's Trophy winning team.
And he's a center.
But you're really, really risking messing up what you've got there.
The difference is that you took an analysis of that and decided they would not be able to get you over the hump. You don't. That's not an analysis you have. You've been to 3 straight Stanley Cups, have won at least one of those. Like,
yeah, like it is a proven.
It's a proven formula, and the risk you're taking is adding a guy who I don't want to go so far as to say that he is, like, I don't think Mitch Marner's the reason it's not working in Tampa or in Toronto, but, like, do you want to introduce that energy to a locker room when it has worked unbelievably well over the last 3 years?
Well, I also think that, like, when you look at a history of teams that have had sustained success, a big part of the reason that they eventually fall apart is they fall in love with their own guys and they commit too much money, too much term to their own guys, and they try to just, like, keep that window open for too long instead of making the difficult decisions that are better for the long term and kind of readjusting what you have in a group.
This would be the Boston Celtics swapping out Marcus Smart, who is better on the Boston Celtics than he is anywhere else, and he's of such high value to them, for Kristaps Porzingis.
Except it's not better because they have won. Like, the Celtics, again, that was an analysis that they couldn't get over the hump with that situation. Fair. Florida is not making that analysis. They're taking a risk that somehow they are going to be better at getting to the Stanley Cup with Mitch Marner than they are with Sam Bennett, which I don't think that's a good analysis to have.
I think it's a great conversation.
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't think that I'm on Pete's side. I would rather Marner. And $12.5 million is a lot of money, but the tax savings and everything makes it so maybe he signs for $12.5 million. Plus. But I'm just saying that you do this if it gets to Sam Bennett's going to cost you $10 million.
And an important part of the conversation is that 12.5 for Marner is under market value, and 10 for Bennett is over market value.
Is fair. So over market value.
What if those $2 million are the difference between you holding on to, like, Marchand
or Ekblad or something? I was gonna say, if I'm signing Marner, I'm also trying really hard to keep Marchand, because losing Bennett and Marchand while bringing on a non-sandpapery type of player, that's fair. Like, how much of that do you want to lose at once?
I will also say, we were talking about this a little off before the show. Like, what is their goalie situation going to look like in 2 years? So, like, if you don't have an answer to that, why I wouldn't put so many eggs in, like, what are these contracts going to look over the life of them? Like, you kind of have to do I don't know what a good comparison would be, but I think you kind of have to really bank on the beginning of those contracts in that window and hope you get lucky later on.
Well, if you think the goaltending is not going to be on the Florida Panthers in the next 3 years, you don't know.
What is anybody's goaltending going to look like in 2 years? Because even if you've got the best goaltender in the league right now, what is that person going to look like in 2 years? It is completely unpredictable.
Now, this rules, because I thought it would be the Vegas conversation that would really get stretched out here, and we'd really be going through everything. So Florida is interesting enough. Great conversation. If it's Vegas, they've got $9.61 million in cap space this summer. Jack Eichel is up at the end of next year, $10 million. He needs a raise, or maybe he goes bye-bye. And Mark Stone is up the year after that. He makes $9.5 million a year. 2 summers from now, the Vegas Golden Knights have $69.32 million in cap space. So they could sign Mitch Marner this offseason, and it won't be crazy long-term. It would be more about the here and now. How would they fit a Mitch Marner? And I think the easiest avenue to that is they would need to trade Mark Stone, who, as I said, has a $9.5 million cap hit the next 2 years. He's 33 years old. Would you do that if you're Vegas, for starters? Would you trade Mark Stone to add Mitch Marner?
That one's tough because, like, logically, it's probably a savvy move because, like, Mark Stone has injury concerns. He is
getting up there,
getting up there in age, probably going to be diminishing returns. But he's such a heart and soul guy. He's such a playoff player. He is just somebody that you want on your team when you're going into battle.
We'll say Vegas is the kind of team that would do something like that.
Yeah,
like Vegas has proven that they don't.
I know.
Not that they don't. I think they clearly care about their fan base, but they care about winning more than anything. And
like, you're a better regular season team with Mitch Marner instead of Mark Stone. But what does it look like in the playoffs?
I think that this move would it would establish and further cement that your roster is going to have a lot of star players for a long time. And we also talked about this could be good or bad. If you have Mitch Marner on your team next year and say he's playing with Jack Eichel is in the Hart conversation. He's been knocking at that door anyway. He gets to a level playing on that team, and maybe he ends up outpricing himself as a result, but he stays in love with Vegas and he sticks around.
I guess my problem is, like, really, what is Mitch Marner's medal like? Like, because there's the Cassidy of it all too. It can go one of two ways. Like, it can go, you can make Marner into the kind of guy that he should be, you want him to be, or it could be more of like a Boston thing where Mitch Marner's just like, fuck this guy. I don't want to play for him. Obviously that's a thing that he would have to go through when he's signing there. So maybe that's not that big of an issue. But, like, I don't know. That could go, I think it has a chance of going poorly just as much as it has a chance of going well.
Okay, so that's interesting. We did the would you do that if you're Vegas. Now here's where it gets really fun. Say Vegas does do that. They say we're moving on from Mark Stone. We are signing Mitch Marner. We have this star player, this great guy, as Pete said, just ultimate heart and soul player, 33 years old on a 2-year contract. We have him on the market. I don't know what they're getting for him. I think they probably are getting a lot because he's still a really good player. And also, like, these are the teams I have written down. Utah. Mm-hmm. If Utah, with all their young players, can get a Mark Stone, unbelievable. You mentioned in our text thread, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg would be a lot of
Goes
fun.
home.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Chicago. Oh, boy, does Chicago need Mark Stone.
Yeah, but I would feel bad for Mark
Stone.
You'd feel bad for Mark Stone.
Need?
Here's a really fun one. Mark Stone, I couldn't remember the team I was going to say. Mark Stone left Ottawa because he didn't want to be part of a rebuild. What a life hack to skip out on the rebuild, win a cup, and then get continue on.
Very cool.
That would be so cool.
That would be very cool. I mean, there's a number of teams that would really, really interest me for Mark Stone. Minnesota could be a fun one.
They got the space, famously.
True. It's freed up.
You know what's a good one?
Montreal.
Oh.
Montreal would be a good one.
But
Montreal would love
Sid's
Mark
taking
Stone.
that money.
Huh?
Sid's taking that money.
That's right.
Cap's going up, but Sid's going to Montreal.
Yeah.
Did you have another one?
No.
Check this one out. Nashville. Fits their timeline. derogatory.
Oh yeah. Like,
If he just wants to go hang out with
sure.
some guys, some other old guys.
I think based off of what you saw in Nashville, it definitely fit the mold, derogatory, but it is the exact opposite direction you should be heading in if you are the Nashville Predators.
Look at us, just a bunch of 34-year-olds. Are we 34 or what?
I mean,
you think Jonathan Marchessault is ringing up Mark Stone, old pal Mark Stone in Vegas, and saying, "Come on down, buddy. This is a really awesome time here. We miss you.
You gotta get here. Nashville's where it's at, brother."
hate bringing everything back to Buffalo, but fuck,
I mean,
the Sabres could use a guy like Mark Stone.
I mean,
Mark
Stone.
Bruins honestly could use a guy like Mark Stone.
Sabres have guys that might be on the way out.
There would be some questions though of like, wait, so you wouldn't keep Brad Marchand for $7+ million a year, and your solution was you traded something to get Mark Stone for $9.5 million a year?
Hey, you might not have to trade something to get Mark Stone. The Vegas Golden Knights have set a precedent for just giving away players that they are no longer really interested in to free up room. Marc-Andre Fleury won a Vezina, and they traded him for literally nothing that offseason.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I think that there would be a real market for Stone though, and I think like Utah. BA has told us when he's making trades, he'll call up a team and he'll say, "Hey, this is what we think of this guy. This is what we think he's worth. We're paying for him. Like we've got the stuff. We will pay you to have this guy."
Not a very far move either.
Not a far move. Mark Stone in Utah. And I thought Utah for Stone because Merrick on the sheet said that Utah shouldn't be going after Marner. They should be going after John Tavares, which I thought was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing where let's get you for a couple of years, show these guys how it's done. My question is, I know that John Tavares is like a stand-up guy, very professional and everything. I don't know that Tavares has the how it's done to him, though.
I don't know if he's like an igniter.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Also,
Here's
you
a theory.
that far.
We mentioned Bruins, and the Bruins could use a guy like Mark Stone. What if the Bruins go out trade for Mark Stone and to plant the seed for a Jack Eichel sweepstakes or situation next summer?
I've been sitting on because I was doing a hit somewhere last week where they want to talk about like, oh, Sweeney's back. What moves should he be working on? What's like the biggest crazy thing he could do? And the craziest thing I could think of was Jack Eichel. If we can think of it, you know that the Bruins are.
But the flip side of that conversation is if they're moving Mark Stone out, it's probably to get Mitch Marner, like you suggested. Is Jack Eichel signing in Boston to play with Mark Stone again when he's playing, presumably, with Mitch Marner in Vegas?
And at that point, presumably wearing a C.
Is Jack Eichel signing in Boston to play with David Pastrnak? That is tasty.
Okay, also a good point. Mitch Marner or David Pastrnak and Mark Stone.
Plus, per John Buccigross, when the Oilers have to trade Leon Draisaitl in 2 years, Boston's keeping the seat warm. Head coach Sturm is ready to bring him on board. And bingo, bango, bongo, you've got second-line center Jack Eichel playing with Mark Stone.
Yes, perfect.
Your second line is Vegas's first line.
And I think the bigger point,
they're 80 now.
The biggest point in the spirit of this conversation is that Mitch Marner's free agency is a lot more interesting than maybe we gave it credit for.
It's a lot more. It's bigger than Mitch Marner.
And
it's a lot bigger than Mitch Marner, yeah.
And it needs reminding, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I was thinking about it this morning. We don't see players of Marner's caliber hit the open market. Like, has it been since Panarin? Was Panarin the last like huge, or I mean, at the time people considered Bob, but Bob it seemed was just what's that?
Same year.
That's what I'm saying. Like Bob was considered like, all right, someone's going to just give him $10 million, and that's what that's going to be, and we're all done with that. But like, where does Panarin go? Marner doesn't like Mitch Marners do not grow on trees, and I know that it's very fashionable to tease him and slag the young man, but you don't get many bites at that apple. You do not. So I love the trickle down effect that this could have. Well, if he just stays in Toronto,
if he stays in Toronto, He's officially canceled.
They deserve everything bad that happens to them.
Yes.
And by
Both
they,
sides.
I mean Toronto
I mean
and
both
Mitch
sides.
Marner.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
We want Mark Stone in Ottawa, and something has to happen to make that happen. So, Mitch, do the right thing. That was really good Mitch Marner conversation. I was afraid it was going to be a little silly to spend 5+ minutes during the playoffs when we do have a lot of things to talk about doing Marner, but we sunk our teeth into that.
And
there was passion.
And that shit creeps up. Like, you can wait until the end of the playoffs, but like shit happens behind the scenes while these games are being played, because famously 28 teams ain't playing.
That's right.
29 some nights because the Carolina Hurricanes suck.
Well,
yeah.
on any given day,
disrespectful.
technically only 30 teams are playing.
Sean,
Technically speaking.
On any given night, you are correct.
Sean,
Sometimes
I also,
31.
by the way, people mentioning the Avalanche for Mitch Marner, which is hilarious. I did think about it. I was like, Mark Stone Avalanche, but Vegas might
would never do that, right?
not care about their guys. They're not having Mark Stone go to the Avalanche.
They might not care about their guys, but I also think they respect their guys. They're not.
I think famously Vegas does not respect their guys.
I think they respect winning more than they respect their guys, but they're not out here actively. I think they respect Mark Stone enough that they wouldn't want him in their division. I'll get on another contender,
right?
If they are choosing where he's going.
Yeah, if there's any big respect there, it's if that's where Mark Stone wants to go, and they're like, we really want Mitch Marner, then that. But otherwise, I agree. They respect him as an opponent.
Mm-hmm.
They should not want to see him in the postseason potentially. Sean, would you do me the honor of showing me the slate for tonight? What do we have? Oh my God, look at that big slate. Stars at Oilers on ESPN. It is game 4, 8 p.m. Eastern in the United States and Canada. Oilers looking to go up 3-1. And I was buying a mattress yesterday, famously. A guy saw my Oilers hat and he was like, good game yesterday, huh? I was like, they should be up 3-0. What the fuck? I'm afraid of this game. I am not counting the Dallas Stars out. Some might be. You're not catching me do that. I'm worried that a pushback will come. However, you do have the greatest Game 4 player in the history of Game 4s playing for the Edmonton Oilers. So that at least is going on. You can catch the game on ESPN. Pete, what do you think of that?
I think it's another opportunity for PK to enter the VR.
That's all that matters.
That's really all that matters. That's why the slate gets an A. More must win for Dallas or more can't lose for Edmonton?
I've been thinking about that since you brought it up earlier in the show, and
I think that's our injured or hurt.
Yeah, must win or can't lose. It is must win for Dallas, but really is it? Because if you win Game 5 at home and it's 3-2, you got to just go to Edmonton and
then
do
you got to
a
win
job.
3 games in a row.
You don't, though.
Yes, you do.
You got to win one game 3 times. You just...
But on the aggregate, that's 3 games.
I mean, I think it's much more
I'm
of
printing
a,
more on
of,
you.
of a,
Yes.
of a must win for the Stars.
It's more of a must win for
I
the
think
Stars.
I think the Oilers can afford to lose a game. They'll still be
The
up for
Oilers
the
can
series.
afford to do anything.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they can afford to do anything they want. They can lose 100-0 tonight, and I'd still be like, they're going to win the series.
Yeah, what happens with the Oilers now, and I'll have to remind myself in case they throw a stinker tonight, when the Oilers lose a game, we're like, well, the other team is fucked now. Oilers are going to be so mad that they lost a game, they're going to go pitch a shutout, and then they go pitch a shutout afterwards.
I mean, they are. We've talked about it before. Like out of any team, maybe in like all of professional sports, like nothing that they have done over the last whatever stretch you want to give me is going to impact my opinion on what's going to happen tonight. Like on any given night, they can do any given thing.
Yeah, but I guess tonight I would feel a lot differently about this series if the Oilers win, because Dallas is a team that hadn't lost back-to-back games in the playoffs. Now they've lost 3 in a row. They've not looking good, and now they got to win 3 in a row as a team that has. They're essentially the Stu Skinner of NHL teams, where it's like you're either getting an A game or you're getting a D+ game, or
like
an F
a
game. The Dallas Stars don't really have that much of a B game, at least not consistently.
This was a splendid show. Loved the Marner talk. Loved the pink pony speculation. Loved the Panthers and Canes talk. And, of course, John Buccigross, the best. Catch him everywhere. Socials, Everybody who's watching, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube. And if you're listening on audio, head over to the YouTube and press subscribe on the What Chaos page. It is free. It is easy. It helps us, and it makes it so even if you're not catching every episode, you could see the relevant and fun parts. You will not miss anything, and we know that this time of year, everything's crazy, so if you miss an episode, you get filled in. It's so nice. So press that button. Peter?
Hey, amplify us. You know what that means, and if you don't, I'll explain it to you because we might have some new people here. If you're new here, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We want that subscription, but you can also like the video underneath the video player. It's the thumbs up button. If you're on audio, go ahead and leave us 5 stars, a little blurb, say some nice things about us, compliment my pants, compliment my glasses, say, DJ, you are a lovely person wearing, what is that shirt?
This is a Margaret Glaspie t-shirt. Margaret Glaspie is a American recording artist from the United States of America.
So comment and say this podcast knows a lot about Margaret Glaspie, which is rare for a podcast of its kind.
Yes.
You say Sean. What was the highlight from Sean today?
I mean, I thought that Sean was very passionate in defending Sam Bennett staying in Florida
True.
for a
Sean
high
quit
price over Mitch Marner.
Comment say Sean had really great counterpoints to the Sam Bennett conversation. Leave whatever comment you like. We love the comments.
Maybe not whatever comment you like.
True. Keep it above board. Respect the troops.
Yes.
And
Say, give us this podcast respects the troops, which is rare for a hockey podcast.
whatever you want to say,
Because most of them are Canadian.
go ahead and say.
Yeah.
Amplify the show.
Say what you need to say. You know?
John Mayer said that once.
John Mayer. All right. Thank you to John Mayer. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.